The council chamber hummed with a tension thicker than the tapestries on the wall. "My lord," Sir Kale began, his voice echoing slightly as he unfurled the parchment detailing the feigned assault on the Shadowspire Mountains. "Our forces will strike at dawn from the west." Across the polished table, Lord Valerius listened, a faint, unreadable smile playing on his lips. With a movement so slight it was almost missed, his thumb brushed a dark, pulsating rune on the side of his gauntlet. A silent cue. Amira and Lynn met Kale's gaze, their eyes hard as flint, and gave the almost imperceptible nod. In perfect unison, the heavy oak doors of the chamber slammed shut, the boom echoing like a death knell. The trap was sprung. A condescending laugh, low and guttural, escaped Valerius as royal knights. Their armor gleaming in the torchlight began to close in around him. "Fools," he sneered, his voice dripping with venom. "Did you truly believe it would be so simple?" He held up his gauntlet, the rune now glowing with a malevolent purple light. "The beacon your little prodigy found. It wasn't just a listening post." A knot of dread tightened in Amira's stomach. Valerius's smile widened into a cruel grin. It was a key. In the very center of the grand room, the air began to twist and shimmer. Reality itself seemed to tear as a swirling vortex of pure shadow, a screaming void, erupted from the stone floor, casting writhing, unnatural shadows across the panicked faces of the council members. The grand chamber, a place of law and debate only moments before, descended into sheer chaos. From the churning portal, shadow creatures began to pour forth, amorphous beasts with too many limbs and razor-sharp claws, their forms flickering and indistinct. They moved with a terrifying, silent speed, their hissing cries the only sound they made as they swarmed the knights. The clash of steel against ethereal flesh filled the air, mingled with shouts of alarm and the sickening thud of bodies hitting the floor. What was meant to be a swift capture had become a desperate, claustrophobic battlefield. The very heart of the kingdom now a gateway to some nightmarish realm. Lynn reacted instantly. He stomped his foot hard against the marble, and with a deafening crack, pillars of solid stone erupted from the floor, skewering several of the shadowy abominations. Not pausing for a breath, he dissolved into a pool of shadow at his feet, merging with the darkness. An instant later, he reappeared from the shadow of a fallen tapestry across the room, already in motion. With a gesture, he solidified the very essence of the shadows into a volley of sharp, obsidian-like blades, which he sent hurtling into the advancing horde, cutting them down like wheat before a scythe. On the other side of the fray, Sinju was a whirlwind of controlled violence. He tore a single, glistening scale from the edge of his draconic cloak. As it left his hand, it shimmered and elongated, morphing into a gleaming emerald spear. With a powerful roar, he swept the weapon in a wide arc, clearing a space around the beleaguered council members. As a torrent of viscous shadow flame spewed from one of the larger creatures, Sinju ripped another scale from his cloak. This one instantly expanded into a kite shield, its surface shimmering like 1,000 green gems. He braced himself behind it, the dark flames washing over the shield with a sound like grinding glass, leaving him untouched. Through the chaos, Sir Kale carved a direct path to the architect of their doom. He engaged Lord Valerius, their blades meeting in a furious dance of sparks and ringing steel. But Valerius was no longer just a man. Dark energy pulsed around him, his movements unnaturally fast, his strikes possessing a brutal, crushing force. Sir Kale, one of the finest swordsmen in the realm, found himself on the defensive. His parries growing more desperate as Valerius, empowered by his dark pact, slowly but surely gained the upper hand. "Kale, look out!" Amira's voice was a sharp cry of warning, cutting through the din of battle. All eyes snapped towards the portal. It flared violently, expanding with a deafening roar that shook the very foundations of the castle. The swirling vortex pulsed, and something truly colossal began to push its way through the dimensional tear. A monstrous horned head larger than a carriage emerged, its eyes burning with ancient malice. Then came immense claws, each talon the size of a longsword, which gouged deep furrows in the marble floor. The creatures they were fighting were merely the vanguard. The true nightmare was only just beginning to arrive, threatening to devour them all and plunge their world into an endless night.